Is it worth it? Is that making money for the agency? And I think we have to remember, what could I invest that 3 hours in? I could think of a million things to invest 3 hours in. Have you ever thought about firing a client? Yes. Firing them, getting rid of them, saying you're just not a good fit for our agency anymore. I think for many agencies, you've sort of dreamed about it, but never pulled the trigger. And a lot of times they don't pull the trigger on this because of fear, uncertainty, doubt. I can go on and on as far as some of the reasons why we see people keep clients that we know are wrong. What we want to do is break down a few things that we can think about in this podcast about the logic behind firing a client. Now, I think first and foremost off the rip, the idea of fire, right? It always sounds so dramatic, just like firing a team member. I like to say a performance improvement plan is the kind thing to do, and they fire themselves from there. With a client, you can't really put them on a performance improvement plan, or if somebody has, you should let me know. I'd love to see it. But I think that there's a lot of costs we don't always think about when keeping the wrong customers. And that's something that I definitely want to work on today on the podcast. A lot of times that we think about these bad customers, like they have outbursts and we go about our day-to-day business. But what truly happens is every time those outbursts happen, it takes us away from other clients. It takes us away from being able to be proactive to the right clients. And so we sort of get stuck on a hamster wheel. I think a lot of agency owners ignore the bad clients that need to be fired because they sort of come and go. They're not necessarily always in your face. And so it's like, we'll wait and see next time. We'll wait and see next time. You could sort of define it a little bit as an abusive relationship where the agency is getting abused. So what we did here in our blog, which I hope you check out, we have a whole blog on how to fire clients. You can check it out in YouTube or on the podcast show notes. Anywhere you can go, come to our website. But if you just search on our website, how to fire a client, you will see all of our greatest strategies. So let's start about when to fire a client. For me, there's a couple buckets that we need to look at. The first one is bad payers, people who are consistently late. High claims, right? They're just causing a lot of riffraff. They're not a good risk. We're insuring bad business. People who want to be remarketed every 6 months, and they're kind of calling the shots and then demands on that. People who are just plain nasty, swearing, belligerent, yelling, just all that rough stuff. Unethical. People who are lying, cheating, not telling the truth. Or people who just refuse to go to your agency's minimum coverage standards. And we like to say, if you look at that list, in order to fire a client, they probably need to be in 2 or 3 of those buckets. I'm not sure that one of those buckets is enough to say, get out. I think it should be looked at, reviewed. You could if it was severe enough. But usually when you get to the 2 or 3, you're kind of like, 3 strikes, you're out rule plays big here. One of the things we really encourage agencies to do is identify who are the people who want to run off the book. And I think it's this hard thing, like nobody wants to lose any clients. It's a courage thing. And we don't want to lose. Maybe we can make it work. But generally we can't. And I think everybody should identify the idea that we're sort of at the end of the line. It's like marriage counseling hasn't worked. But we're staying together for the kids. The marriage is dead. The marriage is dead. And I think it's time to say some of these relationships we just need to get good at. Now, you've heard me say this a million times. The first time you fire a client is going to feel horrible, just like the first time maybe you have to terminate an employee. But once you get some reps in, it doesn't become as bad. And so what I like to do is analyze things from the facts, not feelings methodology of what are the facts. So I broke down in our blog a few things that you should consider, because if you write this out on paper and it's black and white and you take all the vagueness out of it, you will see pretty clearly if you need to terminate a relationship with a client. So first one, you want to think about payments. We talked about bad payers. So take a look, pull open the account in the management system and just look how many late payment calls you make, how many reinstatements, how many underwriting favors, how much time was spent on this client just in regards to payments, and how much in late fees did the client pay. At some point, it doesn't make any sense. So if chasing payment for one client is 3 hours of time a year, and say it's $1,000 policy, because a lot of the people we're chasing payment on tend to be lower premium policies, you make 13% commission, you made $130. Now, 3 hours of staff time, $25 an hour, right? With benefits, time off, workers' comp, all that stuff. I just did $25 an hour. That's $75 of staff time. Then we pay taxes on that money, right? So on the $130 in commission you're making, you'll probably end up paying 15% taxes. That's $20. Then just general overhead of rent and electricity and management systems, call it another $20. So your total cost on this client was $115. You got $130. If you had to pay a producer, you're definitely upside down on that. But if you didn't, you still made $15. So is it worth $15 in revenue? And you could even argue that there's more costs, right? These are just very, very baseline items. Just something to get your head around. Is it worth it? Is that making money for the agency? And I think we have to remember, what could I invest that 3 hours in? I could think of a million things to invest 3 hours in. So you can do 4 renewal reviews in 1 hour if you're really efficient and you have a process and you're bam, 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 bam. In all reality, in that 3 hours I spent taking $1,000 premium policy, I could have gotten out to 12 people proactively. And if I talk to 12 people, how many of them am I going to cross out? How many would I get referrals from of better quality? So a lot of times we have to think of our time as, how can I level up the time? So you have to think at the absolute maximum, you made $15. Is it worth it to make $15 to chase all that? If you paid a producer, you definitely lost money. Next up, claims. What's the cost of some with high claims? Missed profit sharing with a carrier. That could be tens of thousands of dollars. Loss ratio issues with carriers, putting you in bad standing. 3 additional hours of team time calling about claims and following up with claims, because a lot of these squeaky wheel people that you want to fire probably fall a lot with these types of claims, and they're never satisfied and they're never happy. So do you want to risk stacking the deck with maybe 10 or 20 clients we should fire with bad claims ratios and maybe potentially blow all those carrier relationships? I would not. I like to think that in 3 years, if you have more than 2 at-fault claims, it's time to really take a look at that account. Now, if they've had a whole track record of 20 years of none, that's different. Some of this stuff is my 2 least favorite words in the English language. It depends, but that's why we say it needs to hit 2 or 3 of these buckets. Now, if it hits 2 and there's another couple that are real gray area, it could be the tipping point for you to say it's time to fire them. But think about the time sucked on claims, the loss ratio issues, all of that. And most likely they're going to experience high rate increase or they're going to get dropped next year, which is going to cause more time. So again, a lot of these high maintenance clients, time, and they're not driving the best result. Another issue that we have is people who want that heavy, lovely remarketing. And on the heavy, lovely remarketing, I think everybody knows my feelings on why remarketing is something we definitely need to try to limit. So a reshop really takes about 3 hours. Now, you could argue with me, some might take 2.5. I get it, but some are harder than others. Some are just ones that we need to focus on. So 30 minutes to update the information on an account, right? To just refresh everything, work with the client. 60 minutes to shop it. 30 minutes to present the quote and go back and forth. 30 minutes to bind. 30 minutes of post-bind questions, escrow, inspections, underwriting memos, all that. That's 3 hours. It's $75 of team time. We can't reshop everyone in 6 months and spend 3 hours each reshop. That's 6 hours a year. Again, on a $1,000 policy, that is blowing your profitability. Look at the reshop activity. And we do believe in rehabilitating. So some of these, we just need to put boundaries up. How many times are we going to go through late payment and reinstate somebody? How many reshops do people get? These are baseline service standards that anybody can pick up that will easily help you out. The next one, somebody who's just plain old nasty. I think sometimes we deal with these people because, I don't know, I could go down the path of it can be really hard to determine if somebody's just got a negative attitude. Now, I also think that a lot of times with the attitude side of things, it's really, really easy for us to maybe have a bad fit, right? I manage a team of 20 people. Sometimes we move a client and lo and behold, great news. A client just did better with somebody who was more direct, or somebody was too direct, or somebody used email too much and we'd flip it around and it could be rehabilitated. Again, this is why you need to have 2 or 3 of these items. So if it's just they're kind of nasty, try it with somebody else. Maybe somebody with tougher skin, they might have a better result. Now, if they've run the gamut and everybody's been through them and they're just nasty, you're probably not going to fix nasty. But you have to think about things like there's a thing called quiet quitting, where people just sort of quit at their desk and they're doing the bare minimum and they know you need them. So they're just coming in every day, checking a box and checking back out. that's something that is a cost to the agency. If a good team member leaves because they're just so sick of some of these people, great news. That's at least $2,500 in recruiting fees, plus your time, plus the onboarding, plus all of those things. I mean, losing people is so costly to an agency. I'm sure that there's some studies out there that can tell you the true cost, but if it comes down to a really nasty client for defending your team, defend your team. Okay. And I'm optimistic more and more agencies are recording phone calls, pull the freaking calls. It's dead to rights at that point in time. If a client's unethical, cut bait. I think this is one of those like non-negotiables. You could have the loss of a carrier contract, an E&O issue, and a tarnished carrier relationship. Don't let one bust out affect you guys. If the client's below the standards that we believe in, you're always going to spend more time with these clients. It's dangerous in claim, and let's be honest, they're not your people. So again, if they're fine and they're happy and they're willing to sign sign-ons, I wouldn't terminate them. But if they come into any of these other buckets and there is issues, that's when I would go deep on it. So I think the whole point is understanding who to fire. And once you see this in black and white, and like just take a checklist, grab the blog and say, okay, client XYZ, say Kelly Donahue. Okay, does she pay her bills? Does she not? And you start going through this list, it becomes very apparent that you might need to terminate the client. And the next phase, everyone's always going to ask me, but Kelly, how do I fire these clients? Like, I don't know how, I don't know what to say. And some of the fear that people have around terminating clients is that, and I'm just going to walk through the common fears that we have. And on Friday's podcast, I hope you come back. Me and Stephen Harrington are going to role play out, how do we fire a client? What do we say? And walk you through the different options you have to try to let the client go as professionally as humanly possible. So if you like what the vibe we're putting down, make sure you check out Friday's podcast. Also, I did mention rehabilitating clients. In the blog is actually our free How to Get Clients on EFT guide. So this is the bomb. We're trying to put on our website to sell as a process pack, but we've just got so much going on. I was like, this is too much gold. I don't want to wait. So we've got a spot open to delay it. So we're going to give it away. Literal role-playing videos of how to get a client on EFT or pay in full, scripts, flyers, everything you need. So please, if you're trying to rehabilitate payments, go to the blog and download the free guide. It's a $200 value. That's how much we sell it for on our website. And I don't know, I just lost my mind and decided to give it to everybody for free. We also have a discount too for job description or job description pack, because I think a lot of times with some of these nasty clients, people aren't working in their job descriptions and we need to honor that. Also, you can book a meeting with us if you'd like to learn more about how we can help you kind of tighten up the efficiency on your book, because lo and behold, these clients are sucking the lives out of people. But I digress. Back to what are some of the downsides that we see, the potential cons. We can see upside, right? Better team, more energy, more enthusiasm, just a better quality customer in general. I think those are pretty clear. But inside your head, you're thinking to yourself, all the fear, uncertainty, and doubt. Okay, so one of the first ones we hear is they could leave a bad online review. A customer terrorist or a time vampire. So I go back and forth my blog calling them either customer terrorists or time vampires. Guys, they can leave you a bad online review when they're a customer. Okay, that is not something that only happens when they're not a customer. So kind of think about that, right? The reality is if it's not working for you, it's not working for them. They could go online and do that anytime. They may speak negatively about your agency and the community. So we're really talking about the lowest tier, the bottom rung, the time vampire, the client terrorist. So if they start spouting out to everybody, I'm just going to tell you guys this. A lot of people won't believe them. It's like, oh, them again. They're pissed off at everybody. You're not talking about taking just a good person that maybe had a bad experience. You're talking about the bottom scraping of the barrel. Most people, just like when you terminate someone, they'll be like, she was kind of crazy. So like most people come back around and be like, makes sense, not a big deal. And you don't have to worry about it too much. This is one of my favorites. They leave you and they go to a carrier that downloads and assigns you clients. There's one carrier out there that starts with P, ends with aggressive, maybe a progressive. And you can sign up and it's great, except for when you fire clients, a lot of them will go potentially online to progressive and then you could get it reassigned to you. So you might want to turn that off or just make it clear if you can to the carrier rep. The last one is they get upset. They get fired up. Just like anything, when they're upset now, so you're dealing with that. There's one way to end the upset. You could have the final upset and not have death by paper cuts. Or if you're going to take a look at the idea of they're upset It's one more time. Kind of like if you have to terminate somebody, it's one time, it's a minute, and then they get their stuff and it's over. It happens very quickly. So, you just have to pick that and rip that Band-Aid off. So those are our top ways to fire clients. Listen to our podcast on Friday, or if you're listening to this a little delayed, check out the podcast. We're going to do a role play out how to fire a client. And again, you could say fire, relocate to another agency. All of that is up in the wheelhouse. So that's our tips. Hope you guys have a great day.